Hello, my friends. Wow, that is hot. It gets so hot back here. So today we're answering some questions, doing specific videos on specific questions asked. Sorry, this is probably like 100 degrees. It gets hot on this back deck. So someone had asked, oh, gotta love bees. Someone had asked growing up years, what my growing up years were like. So that's what this video is going to be about. It's going to be answering the question that was brought up on growing up. What was my life like growing up? Well, it was a good life. I would say I was blessed with the parents that I had. My dad would always throw football with me in the backyard for hours at a time. Having my mom be a stay-at-home mom, she was always around, which I think that's kind of important. I know in today's world, a lot of mothers work, and that's also important as well. I mean, in today's world, it's pretty hard for a mom to be a stay-at-home mom. And just try and survive on one income. Things are just crazy, so either or. But I think growing up with a mom that was always around, always home, was important. In my young years, we went to a Mennonite school, and eventually we were all homeschooled. And I often remember my mom being in the garden and me playing in the garden. I would love, something I absolutely loved as a kid was making little rivers. So in my mom's garden, I would dig like paths and rivers, and then I would get the garden hose and start like far away on one end, and then I'd often put people, like little figures, in like the waterways and stuff, and make different like dams and stuff for the water, so the water would come down, zigzag all around the garden, and then I'd have at the very end like this big like mud hole that I would sit and play with the water, kind of like a pond at the end. Always remember my mom being around. If us kids, so my mom didn't get much money to spend, so she would save her birthday money and stuff like that, but I do remember she would take us to places like Goodwill and thrift stores, and a lot of times my mom would use her own money and buy us kids things and put it on our bed. So if we were out playing or out doing something or at school, we would come home and on our bed would be this little bag of all kinds of little things, and that's something my mom used to do. My dad worked from home trying to think, for many years, and then he worked at different jobs throughout the years, and yeah, I grew up out in farm country where, let's see if I can get this right, on the one side of the road, I think it's probably like a mile long stretch of just back roads and stuff. There was three houses within a mile stretch on the one side of the road, and then on our side there was our house, a house owned by my grandparents house, our old farmhouse, another house, a farm, and then another house. So like, and I remember, being able to just walk on the road freely. You might have a couple cars throughout a whole entire day go past. Growing up with Mennonite friends, going to their farms, I would often play with the Mennonite boys at, in the hay mound and all kinds of stuff. And I had a good childhood, you know. Farm boy, drink from a garden hose, drink from a creek. Didn't worry about, you know, putting shoes on just barefoot. Just, you know, I had a great childhood, a great life. I remember, you know, at nighttime, my dad and either one of my sisters or both my sisters, sometimes we would walk on the road at nighttime. I remember like just looking up in the sky and like just how clear it was and stuff. I miss those days. I miss that backcountry roads. I miss that. If I had it my way, I would buy a house somewhere out there and move back in that area in a heartbeat. I'd love to move on that same road. A house that we did own did come up for sale like a couple years, like 2 years ago. But the problem with that is that there's major issues with the sewage and major problems. Like almost like you would have to completely redo everything. I think it's sewage and just tons of stuff. So yeah, I had a good childhood. In my really young childhood, when we had a farm, my grandparents lived across the field, so always would go over across the field and hang out with my grandma. Call my grandma up and say, "Grandma, we want McDonald's," and she would go get it or take us. So that was awesome, living across from my grandparents. And yeah, you know, I think those were some of the best days that I had. In my older years, yeah, just a great life. I mean, I was really blessed. I don't know what else to say. I mean, teen years, I would go to a Christian camp called Camp Hebron, and some of my greatest memories in my teen years, my parents were not really strict, so my parents kind of trusted us kids. So I would be able to watch any movie I wanted to, pretty much. I mean, obviously, really bad movies, they would say no, but it's not like they enforced it. They kind of allowed us to make our own choices. And I'm grateful for that. You know, there's so many parents that are really controlling, that think they have to control every aspect or even half of the aspects of their kids' lives. I'm grateful that my parents didn't. Obviously, they had boundaries and rules, you know, but they weren't like a lot of parents that I've met. So, like, for example, if I wanted to go watch a rated R movie that was like action packed or something with friends, I could go. If I wanted to go we called it back then globe bowling, so which is basically bowling at till like midnight, they would let me. If I wanted to be alone with a girl in my room, they would let me. You know, they trusted us to make decisions. And now here's a difference. If we were with my parents and there was something bad, they would not go for it. For example, if I was with my dad and mom, or my dad, and we would go to Blockbuster, if I wanted to get a bad movie or a movie that was rated R, they wouldn't let me. So when they were around, you know, I remember one time we went to see a movie in the movie theater with my dad, and I think it was either one or both of my sisters. The movie was called Big Daddy with Adam Sandler. So I think in that movie there was a lot of crude, a lot of swearing from time to time. My dad got so mad because they were swearing in it, that my dad said, "All right, we're going home." And not even halfway through the movie, he picked us up and we left that theater, because my dad was not going to sit there and listen to swearing. Now, if I told my dad in my teen years, "Hey, I'm going to see Big Daddy, can I have money?" You know, going out on a date or something, my dad would have let me. And a lot of people think, oh, you know, honestly, I've never done drugs. I have never, um, I've never been drunk. I've never smoked. I tried a cigarette one time for fun with a guy that used to, and this is in my older age, I think like 20s. Whenever I started working for my dad, there was a guy that worked with us that smoked, and I went, and that was it. That was the only thing I could give anything towards as far as smoking. Never did drugs and have no interest in that. Never been drunk. I used to be strongly against drinking, but after reading the Bible and really, I've come to understand drinking is not a problem. It's drunkenness, or getting yourself to that point where you're almost drunk. That's a problem. And again, that's whatever. That's whatever your opinion is on that. That's fine. It's just me. So even though I had the freedom to do things, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I was never really interested. So I didn't have many guy friends after I became homeschooled. I had a friend named Aaron growing up, Mennonite boys from across the street, and then I had online friends, and then people I'd go to the local fairs with and stuff. So I guess I did have guy friends. But since I had two sisters growing up, I always related better to girls, so I had a lot of girlfriends, like girls as friends. Actual girlfriends, I don't know, what can you count as a girlfriend? I mean, I guess my first girlfriend, official girlfriend, we dated for a month. I think we kissed a couple times. So awkward, so embarrassed to kiss. I was such a shy kid, so embarrassed. So one girlfriend that lasted a month, then my next girlfriend lasted 6 months, and then after that, my next girlfriend lasted 2 years. So 1 month, 6 months, 2 years. And then after that, I got married with someone, and I tried my best for 5 years. We should have never got married. It was red flags left and right everywhere. We were not compatible for each other at all. I was heartbroken after so 1 month, 6 months, 2 years. I was heartbroken after the third girl. The third girl, I truly thought in the bottom of my heart that she was my soulmate. It actually took me 10 years to get over her. So yeah, that was pretty rough. So I made really poor choices with the fourth girl, as far as I should have never dated her. There were so many red flags. After the first month, we almost broke up. I kept giving her the benefit of the doubt. I ended up marrying her and giving it 5+ years of trying. So that's the fourth girl, which is kind of a pattern here. 1 month, 6 months, 2 years, 5 years. And then the girl that I'm now married to and I'm with now, my wife, I ended up divorcing the fourth girl after I was at my all-time low. I hated my life. I hated myself. I told God, I said, okay, this is it. I have no purpose in life. I'm just gonna get really fat, and I don't care. I don't care if I die. I don't care what happens to me. I really don't. I felt like I was being treated like scum of the earth, and there was nothing I could do. And so at my lowest point in 2014, I felt Christ talking to me. I truly did. And I felt like God saying, Scott, there is so much more for you than you even realize. Like, so much more is going to happen that you don't even know. So I picked myself up and changed my life. So that now the girl that I'm with now, we've been married for 7 years. Let's see. So Yeah, 7 years we've been married, and we dated for 2 years, I want to say. So like 9 years we've been together. So 6 months, no, 1 month, 6 month, 2 years, 5 years, 9 years. So, and that's growing up. That's growing up, and I wouldn't trade everything that I've been through. And now we can talk about, I mean, someone asked me a question, what have I been through? And that would be another video. So hope that answers growing up years. If there's any other specific questions for growing up or whatever, yeah, ask away. All right, let's see how we turn this.